How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lo4f, and today I'm going to go and do, I think it's my last contract I've got, well, that I'm going to do anyway, other than like the hot potatoes one and that. Yeah, it's called Turbine, and I've finally got to go and get this bloody 8-slot trailer. Yeah, it's a bit of a long one, so strap in. Yeah, that's what she said, of course. I lost about the first 10 seconds of footage, so that's why I've just clipped that out and kind of it was a bit slower. I'm starting on the Crossroads map, so I've got to go down to the bottom, grab the trailer, and then I'm going to go up the Institute way. The reason why I'm kind of moving the camera around like I am now is, in theory, you could go to the Heartlands map instead and then cross Heartlands to the Harvest Court map and do it that way. But the reason I decided against that in the end was the route back from the trailer towards the Heartlands map is a lot rougher. It's the route I'm going to drive down on the way to the trailer. And then once you're in the Heartlands, you're kind of only driving along a road, really, and then you got to cross the river, which has got like logs and a lot of bumps in it, which the 8-slot trailer is notoriously horrific for catching on stuff like that. And then once you're on the Harvest Court map, basically by going this like the Institute way, I'll pop out fairly near to where I need to go to drop this fan blade off, whereas if I went the Heartlands way and used that gateway, I'm kind of on like the opposite side of the map, and there's, in most situations, you could just drive it, it's not the end of the world, but again, it's a bit of a sketchy, bumpy, awkward route, which I sort of don't want to take the 8-slot trailer along, really, because, yeah, it's generally speaking a giant pain in the arse. Yeah, so for this one, I was umming and ahhing in the end. I kind of got it down to between the Kolob, is this, I can't remember the code name, is it 747 in it though? I always remember that because of Bowen. Or the Zik 605R, and I went for this one in the end. I think the chassis and everything sits taller, although as you can see it still catches its chin a bit. I remembered to put the active suspension on and actually operate it and lift it up in the end, so I did notice though this thing's got 59-inch tyres, I think it was, and the Zik 605R has got 61-inch tyres, even though this truck looks a lot more hefty and all the rest of it. But in the end I think it came down to just the fact that like where the saddle high is, like the rear of the truck just sits higher in general, and yeah, the main problem with the 8-slot, it's just really not designed for any of these maps really. It's the legs. Once you clip it onto your trailer, clip it onto your truck, and it lifts like the trailer legs up, they still sit too low, so every time you go over various bumps and dips and hills, which is like the whole purpose of the game really, yeah, they just catch in the map, and not just catch, they like dig in, like hook into the physics of the game, and they just lock in place really. They're a bit of a nightmare, so yeah, in the end I just thought it was best to go this route. It's one last chance as well on like the Institute map to cross this little river section that I like doing. Yeah, so that's why I settled on the Kolob in the end. Obviously, in theory, the Ziks I certainly think could put up a pretty good fight and do it pretty well. It's also got the roof rack on top, so you got like extra fuel and repairs and that, but got myself a goddamn horse of a vehicle, so yeah, he's like a roof rack for for all the trucks that have been denied a roof rack so far. He fits on the Kolob pretty nicely. Get his back wheel just in front of the snorkel, otherwise you have to like sit him on a bit of an angle, and I like having him nice and neat all lined up on there. You can see now though, this route I'm driving down, this would be, if I wanted to go the Heartlands map, well, I wouldn't have to go this way, but it'd kind of sort of make the most sense, directionally speaking, to come back this way. And yeah, as you can see, I mean, they've nerfed the crap out of everything. It was a shame in a way, because this Kolob was even feeling a little bit on the weak side in sections. You can sort of tell though, it is like they've coded various sections. If you could somehow go onto like a spectrum where you could actually see what's going on, if you imagine like all the map had like green, but then they've coded it as like red lines, red lanes and that going around the map where the roads are, and it just completely cock blocks your power, yeah, and all the rest of it. And like I say, even the Kolob was feeling it a little bit, and that was before I even went and got the trailer. In its defence, the Kolob is like a bit of a hefty beast, and once it's ticking along, the trailer, for the most part, like just the weight of the trailer didn't really seem to make much of a difference. But yeah, you can see as I'm going along, this road as well though, that cuts down the right hand side of the map, I suppose, if you've got it rotated like with north being north. Yeah, on the Crossroads map it's always been a bit awkward, this road. I've had to go down here in quite a few trucks. Not for a little while, to be fair. I suppose, well, I wasn't really doing it on purpose, but a lot of the missions I did and contracts and that on this game, I spent like the first month or so on the Crossroads map mainly and Heartlands, and then now for I suppose the last month or so I've more been on the Institute map and the Harvest Court map. That's one reason why I was considering tonight cutting through the Heartlands map, but like I said, just when I was looking at the route, it didn't seem, I don't know, I just think it would have possibly took me longer. It's one of them, I wouldn't really willingly say this with the 8 slot, but it would have been interesting kind of to go both ways and see actually which would be quicker and that. I just think in the end this route that I took made more sense for just physically dragging the 8 slot trailer and it not trying to catch on 80,000 different bits of the map. Yeah, so we've got down to the bottom, cross over this rail track. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the Kolob used to just have ridiculous amounts of power. And the reason why I don't think it's like the trucks they've done themselves is, one, it'd just, I suppose, be easier if they kind of code it as a blanket nerf to everything. But yeah, when I go back on like the original maps, stuff sort of feels more back to normal. I'm hoping it's not too long now, it's only like a day or two until we get the Phase 9 apparently. It's supposed to be dropping on the 28th, yeah, on Tuesday. I'm hoping it's still not coded like that, but I've kind of got a bad feeling it might be. And yeah, with this mission, I mean, you got to drop it off on the Harvest Court map, and just to make sure we have to cover maximum distance, they've put it like, yeah, right at the bottom of the Crossroads map. And obviously, there's no gateway from Crossroads to Harvest Court. You're gonna have to go through the Institute or Heartlands. So yeah, bit of a journey on this one. Not too bad in the end though. I suppose the whole video's just under 34 minutes. That's actually not that bad. Considering as well, this has got the advanced special gearbox. So, as I'm covering a lot of distance, it would have been sort of nice in a way to have a truck where I've got the high range gearbox so I can sort of drop the hammer a little bit. But as I was going through them, I don't know really, yeah, I don't get to bring the Kolob out too much. That's why in the end as well, part of the reason why I chose the Kolob over the Zix was in Phase 9 and that, I'm a lot more likely to use the Zix for sort of general purpose missions. The Kolob, obviously, it's not got a roof rack, you can't have as many add-ons on the back or anything, so it's a lot more limited in like the ways you can set the truck up, so inevitably I'm probably going to use it on less missions regardless. So yeah, it was a good chance to take it out. And you can see now, I only just got the bloody trailer, and yeah, those legs are hooked on the train tracks. And not only that, it's kind of just kept my truck sitting in this ditch at the perfect angle where I can't really grip with the front wheels, can't really reverse. Just have to keep steering, like, I think I edited 10 seconds out there or something, but steering left and right a bit and we got out of there. But yeah, you can just tell what a nightmare this trailer can be. And like I said, the Kolob sits nice and high, especially with the active suspension on as well. And bear in mind, they put the trailer on the other side of those train tracks, and they obviously run like right across the bottom of the map, so at some point you're going to have to jump over the train tracks, and just the way they are, where it's like sort of built up on a little ridge, yeah, you're going to catch them legs on it somewhere, unless you go at like hit it at a good angle. Yeah, that's what she said. Yeah, like if you go really diagonally maybe, but anyway, we got out there. It wasn't too bad in the end, but it wasn't, I don't know, it was not a good sign when I only had the trailer like probably less than a minute. You can see there though, it stalled, and then now I went to put it in high, it stalled again, and I don't know, unless the trailer is catching, it's like a relatively flat ground. And yeah, I just sort of feel like the Kolob should have a bit more oomph to it than that. See, it just dies a lot easier than you'd expect. And then now, instead of following the road, because I've not been down it for a while, but if I remember correctly, that road gets a little bit bumpy and twisty. It's more the bumps. Yeah, just for catching the trailer again, so I kind of seen if I cut along this lake, there's a F750 there and a goddamn horse with it, so I remember being here a little while ago, and I knew that it was a relatively straight shot like along here. I have to obviously weave through the trees a little bit. See, again, just dies with the old power. And yeah, for this one we've got OG Lo4f. Got the original for the last mission, or the last contract that I'm going to do. I have actually, as I was looking around, I've still got, not loads, but a few missions that are on each map. I think one way or another, between like the live stream and doing the videos, I've covered just about all of them. It's one of them really where there was a hell of a lot of missions and contracts really on this phase. As far as content goes, they certainly gave us quite a lot. Yeah, just after X amount of time after they've released the phase, it's just, yeah, I can only pick so many missions and videos and all the rest of it, and it's by the time you get a couple of months into it, just about everyone's done every mission, so I suppose the need for the video sort of dies down a bit anyway, to where it's just kind of more fun messing around towards the end. Yeah, I've seen someone as well in the comments say they're amazed how I've managed to keep track of OG Lo4f. He's the only Lo4f that I've painted black. He was like the original Lo4f. I think for a little while I painted him green for the like Top Gear truck dart. He was like the middle, the bullseye really. And yeah, other than that though, he's my only black Lo4f. He's the original. I didn't want to get him mixed up with other ones, so all the other Lo4fs are painted. There's now multiple like yellow ones, red, pretty much multiple of every single colour going. One or two grey ones, but they sort of confuse me a little bit. In the right weather they look pretty similar, so but yeah, that's how I know OG Lo4f. Anyway, made it out of that lake section, all the rest of it, so I'm on the road now, which you can actually get your foot down a little bit, which makes up a bit of time, because yeah, this thing's got the advanced special gearbox, so it's not the quickest. In fact, looking at it, technically speaking, I could have fit another Lo4f on that, the front of this trailer, although that's another thing, like with this Kolob, you can't have a crane on it, for example, so it's, yeah, it's just got a lot less options to be able to set it up. It's a shame really, it'd be nice if they put a crane on it by now. It'd probably suit the bandit crane. Went to run that sign over, it got me, smashed me up a little bit. Now we're back on the dirt roads. And yeah, sorry about yesterday with a live stream. My internet just went at about, I don't know, not long past midnight, and I was messing around on my phone, but yeah, I had Mythbusters on, and then the loading wheel come up on the TV, and it was like, oh crap, because I usually know that means it's gone. And because my granddad's in hospital, I nipped down to his flat to check like his internet box thing, and yeah, it wasn't that playing around, so it was like the internet just gone, and then it didn't come back until about 5 in the morning. Although in the end it kind of worked out, I don't know, like not too long. I was waiting for a little while. Like, I would have put out a notice a bit sooner, but I was like, maybe the internet will come back, because sometimes in like the middle of the night it cuts out. I assume if they're doing anything to it, it's obviously one of the quietest times to tinker with it and all the rest of it. Yeah, I left it for a little while, but I cooked this chicken tikka thing that was quite nice, but after I ate it, like an hour or two later, I felt rough, felt like I was going to throw up and everything, and then I had a banging headache, and then I woke up and I was fine, so I don't know if it was a bit of a dodgy tikka or not, but it messed me up. So yeah, by about probably, I don't know, half an hour, after the live stream would have started, I was, yeah, I felt not good. To be fair as well, I was thinking about it. I was gonna go to some of the original maps and mess around with them, because for the most part, unless there's like probably the odd one or two missions, but yeah, on the live stream, like I think I've done just about every contract on there. I remember I've already done this wind turbine one as well, but it did get me worried a little bit, because obviously the new phase is coming out soon. I was like, oh no, don't be internet troubles when I need to download that. I even went to check today if I could download phase 9 like early, you know, if you could get it sort of primed and ready, so when they actually release the phase that's already downloaded, but there's no option to at the minute, so I'm gonna have to wait. I'm not sure for me if it's coming out on Tuesday. I don't know if it'll be the morning or night. If it's the night, I'll try and get a video out. It's just, it depends what time on Tuesday I can get this game and everything downloaded by, and then yeah, most likely, preferably, be doing like an exploration video of the first map. Check that one out. It's pretty good though. It feels like I've been waiting forever since Phase 8, really. I think it's got to have been a good 3 months, hasn't it? It was like, I don't know, was it October odd? Oh yeah, well, it would have been a lot more than 3 months then, wouldn't it? Already practically in the 3rd month of this year. Can't believe how quick it's going. Get a bit of fuel on my way past. In the end, I probably technically didn't need to. I reckon the goddamn professional could have got me there, but yeah, just force of habit. Getting a bit of frame rate going a bit awkward there. It's not just me, is it? I didn't really notice this when I was then again, I might not have even been looking at the TV, or if I was, probably every 10 seconds. But yeah, it looks like the frame rate was going slow for a little while then, which is usually a sign there are stealth updating stuff in the background. I'm not saying it's always the case, but I have noticed it before. Just like a couple of days, a week before the new phase comes out, you get some like odd glitches that are kind of temporary. They don't really appear all the way through the game. So it ran out of power then as well. Kicked me out of it, said it was about to stall. Well, I don't know, maybe it was just with the Kolob, but again, this trailer doesn't really feel ridiculously heavy. And the one good thing is, I'm kind of glad they did this, because particularly with their cranes being as terrible as they are, yeah, if you do tip this trailer over, the fan blade stays strapped to it and all the rest of it, or just the whole thing will roll over, so it can't unpack. I wonder actually if they did that anyway, or if they sort of tested it out and realised that none of their cranes would be able to pick that fan blade up because they're all terribly weak cranes, and then just decided to do it that way. Yeah, for the Institute map, kind of the route I've been going before, but yeah, this is like one last drive, see how that route handles with this 8-slot trailer, and then gonna try that river crossing where there's kind of no bridge going on, and yeah, then follow the road up, travel over to the Harvest Court map. I was trying it on this mission earlier as well, like instead of setting the time of day to 1 PM, which I normally do because it's in theory supposed to be like the brightest time of the day really, but for whatever reason on this phase the sun seems to set after like 2 minutes. So when I started this mission, I set it, well, to 6 AM, but while I was drawing like the line on crossroads and that, it got to about 9, half 9, and that works out quite nicely. The sun's kind of pretty bright on the game, and obviously it lasts a bit longer before I have to keep changing the time of day. But then now, I've been trying it recently, and then now it keeps starting to piss it down with rain and go all cloudy by the time it's got to midday, so I can't win with it. I hope, that's one thing I definitely hope they've gone back to normal on the Phase 9, is just like midday is a nice sunny day that at least lasts quite a while before it starts going a bit grey and pasty. I don't know, I quite like the sort of brightness of this game, and yeah, once it's all a bit cloudy and dull, everything sort of seems a little bit more samey. It's a bit like MudRunner. It's obviously a great game, but there's a lot less colour going on. That was quite a sort of a, yeah, just a very samey, washed out sort of looking game, whereas SnowRunner's always been kind of like the nice bright greens and all that when the sun's going. But yeah, the weather has not been working with me on this one, although I actually do quite like the rain in its own way. See, you can tell with the Kolob, like on certain roads like this, well, the little patch of river or whatever, like puddle thing I just went over, it didn't struggle there as much as it struggled on some places just on normal flat ground, so that's what makes me think stuff like that, that it's sort of coded into the roads, not the truck itself. And I've been spoiled as well, in a good way, by the mods. Having like, yeah, say AGL, got these zoom gearbox. Or even if not, there's like 10 speed gearboxes, 12 speed, all that sort of stuff. They're a lot nicer. You can drop the hammer with the Kolob. I think he's, yeah, not long ago made a version of the Kolob actually that's... the gearbox was nice. It was funny as well, because obviously normally in the game you've only got the advanced special and the special and the multi-purpose and that, but it's kind of like a lower set of gearboxes. Or slower at least, I wouldn't say lower. They're actually pretty decent on various trucks. But yeah, it was nice to actually drive the Kolob at more like high range speed, because they sort of behave differently once you can get a truck flying. And yeah, it was nice. I remember the Kolob being a good one to drive with like the faster gearboxes. I was going to say as well, could do with probably squeezing slightly bigger tyres on, but looking at those two rear axles, probably only another inch or two and they'll be touching. That's what she said. At least they gave us the active suspension. That's a good start. It was a nice little, a nice thing for this Kolob, because its skid plate thing at the front already catches enough as it is, or sump guard, whatever it is. Lo4f never has those problems. So got a nice engine as well. Engine sound, the Kolob. Which would be nice if they kind of overhauled the engine sounds, but I don't think they will by now. I doubt it. But every now and then I think because I've watched a few, you know what YouTube's like, keeps recommending like similar videos, so I keep watching like little 30-second to a minute clips of like various big trucks hauling logs up random mountains. I think mostly probably in like America and Canada and some other place like South America and all that. But yeah, all the trucks, they always sound like great by comparison. That is one thing I will say with this game. A lot of the trucks, the engine noise is a little bit, yeah, kind of washed out. Not really a hell of a lot going on, but there's a few exceptions, this being one of them. You can see as well, even just turning that corner, like this trailer, it has its uses here and there, rarely, but yeah, it just really wasn't designed like, I don't think it was originally meant to suit this whole game, really. Because we didn't have it at the start, did we? They kind of introduced it, I don't know whether it was like half a year into the game. And yeah, especially when you go around a lot of corners on this game, for whatever reason, they always put a telegraph pole or lamp post or whatever on the inside of a corner, which is already sharp enough as it is, and then yeah, you inevitably, especially with this thing, just have to like smack the trailer into it. Didn't like that. Went into high gear, it was about to stall, so went into high-low where it's like can't mess around with the torque. That was nice though. It's pretty rare. You can, like, normally when you switch to the cockpit view as you're going through the river there, it just says no because you're underwater or whatever. Whereas this Kolob sat tall enough. I wasn't even expecting it. It might be. It's looking good for a thumbnail. It's always nice when you're crossing a river. And then yeah, as you can see now, I wasn't paying attention. I was supposed to drive to the left and kind of miss this ditch thing going on at the side. Fired a winch out to that tree, but it was firing the middle winch, and then it was saying it can't reach from the front. I was hoping to kind of like Spider-Man swing my way up. And yeah, using the winch a bit just to get my chin, I think it was that was catching. The front wheel started clawing the way up, but unfortunately, yeah, now it's kind of beached itself on its fuel tanks, really. And yeah, I was trying to give it a little wiggle, but it's not really having any of it. It's like that sort of lip that you drive over doesn't really deform or anything. It's quite a sharp edge that doesn't really go anywhere. So yeah, I couldn't really jiggle my wheels backwards and forwards and kind of try and squidge the mud out of the way. It's just those fuel tanks are sitting on it. Tried the low gears, low, medium, low, high, low. It still wasn't having it. I was eyeballing that tree, like the big bushy one, to see the what's it called, the winch wouldn't have reached. If it did, I could have tried, yeah, dragging myself up. But again, it's one of them that even if I got the Kolob up, the bloody legs of the trailer would probably start catching anyway. That tree's looking a bit worse for wear after I stuck a winch on it. Surprised that Kolob didn't rip it out of the ground, to be honest. It looks like it was close. But yeah, in the end it was worth it. I like crossing that river. There is no bridge option there anyway. You're supposed to go like, there's a different route that's to the right of me now, the way the camera's facing. But yeah, it's just, it is technically a river crossing, but one, it's more shallow. I quite like crossing like the deeper rivers like that if you can, especially when you got the big trucks, like the nice tall trucks like this. But also, yeah, it's just awkward. Like, it looks like it's a relatively flat crossing, but you always end up like a tyre dips right down and then you roll, and the current's pretty strong there and all the rest of it. Yeah, it's just, I'd rather cross that river if I can. And the 8 slot, this Kolob actually got it through there pretty well. And then now to the right of me, there is that yard there where there's like a truck repair square that just as soon as you drive into it, fixes you, and a fuel thing as well. But I mean, I could detach the trailer I suppose and go in there, but you can see from the damage it's not too bad. I've taken a few hits, but I suppose that's one nice thing with the like being in the advanced special kind of range of gearboxes instead of the high ranges. Just this game, once you go up into the higher speeds, this game tries to absolutely delete your vehicles, whereas yeah, going a little bit slower sort of helps save that. But I've also got the goddamn horse of me. He's still got his repairs, so I'll be good. Smash that sign out of the way. See what I mean though? You've not got a chance in hell of making it around that corner without smashing the sign. And yeah, back to a bit of road driving now, so we can get my foot down a little bit. This is where some like special gear, they need some, yeah, special like double high range gear for the Kolobs and all that sort of stuff, just so when you're on a normal flat highway road like this, you can get a bit of a move on. There's a bloody field to the left. I think that's one, yeah, where I'm supposed to do that light hot potatoes, which is probably not going to happen. Well, I did do it on the live stream, but they were with easier tractors. I think I've already got all the trailers there, so to be fair, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but yeah, it's just a lot of farming in it. If they made the tractors and that a bit more fun, a bit easier to turn, I'd consider it. But anyway, that's 2 maps down, 1 to go. And the journey's not that far once you're on this map. Like I said, that's part of the reason why going the route I did. I pop out on this gateway, which is like towards the north of the map. The Heartlands gateway would have been like at the south end of the map. So yeah, you can see just these wind turbine things. Whereas if I'd came out of that gateway, it's that little skinny road going up there you've got to drive up, and you can see there's a lot of wiggles and bends, and in that swampy area there's like a log bridge that I've not built yet, and yeah, it's not the Kolob I'd worry about, it's just the trailer catching, and that's about the, well, I don't know, there's lots of things that can drive me mad in this game, like the tree stumps, but yeah, when the trailer actually catches, that sort of drives me more mad than getting caught on something normal, or driving through a rough bit of terrain. See that sign? I was looking at it thinking, oh, that upside down triangle thing looks pretty low in the ground, and then as I eyeballed it, kind of fired another sign out the ground at me. It's getting pretty violent. And again, I knew it'd never happen because that's an awkward corner anyway, it is a pretty sharp one. But I did purposely go wide, and that's why the camera, I was like watching, because I just knew that the trailer had smashed into that lamppost or telegraph pole, whatever. We'd need a lot of repairs going on if I was driving this mission for real. Anti-terrorist barricade is down though. This little bridge, I actually sort of wanted the camera the other way really, like that way, but it was a bit late. But anyway, yeah, these are wind turbines. You'll see as well, obviously, that one, the one I'm delivering it to, has got no blades on it that are turning round. And I suppose technically I'm only delivering one blade, but still, it's not the point. that noise? It must be one of the fan blades. I can hear it in my headset, keep going like whoosh. I assume it's them. Whatever it is, it's like rhythmic. And then get here, and to be honest, I was expecting it to bring up like cargo management, but of course it just, yeah, drive far enough, as soon as the trailer gets there, it kind of takes the whole thing. And then we're done. 14,000, that's not too bad. I say it's like one of the end missions, so it pays you a little bit better. That's more like it. It was quite a lot of driving, but yeah, some of these missions are giving you only like 4 or 5 grand. And then now I was reversing down here because I just wanted to look like, that was my point, that it doesn't add the fan blades on. But I wasn't looking at what I was looking, but about now I've seen those fan blades swishing across the top left of the screen, and I thought, oh, are the blades on? And yeah, look back, I was like, oh crap. Rolled the Kolob. See though, goddamn horse. He got under there, managed to like karate flip it back to its wheels. There's the fan blades that are not attached, so you don't even like, they didn't do an animation. It's another reason I think they kind of ran out of time towards the end and just knocked everything together. I assume that probably would have had an animation. Yeah, the loaf tipped. It was saying engine stalled, so we can't have this. Not on my goddamn horse, not on the last contract as well. And I tried. Sometimes that can work. It was moving the Kolob a bit. Switching from truck to truck though, because you can see it's close. So I knew it's pretty close to firing up. But stage 2 is to kind of switch to a vehicle that's far enough away and then click back on it. And then it just gives it the tiniest little wiggle. You can see now it's saying engine stalled, but as I've said before, if the loaf don't start, you ain't turning the key hard enough. It fires up like a good un. Try and get this winch out pretty quick before the game randomly decides to stall it. It's definitely got a little bit harsher than it used to be, but again, he's a goddamn professional, he's trained for these situations. I don't know why there, and these rocks must be like super slippy, because I had the winch to like the top middle point of my loaf, and yeah, it didn't even like start to flip over, it just kind of skidded along the rocks, which it rarely, if ever, does. And then it tried to give me one last little heart attack. I said stalling again, but again, give it a second or two. Fired up like a good un, got a winch back out there, and he's escaped. Goddamn professional. Get yourself a loaf. See, now he can sit on an angle on this hill without tipping. He knows what he's doing. It was yeah, another view of the fan blades. I don't really know. It inevitably, at the end of the videos, I usually waste like, depending, more time though, trying to, yeah, potential thumbnails and all the rest of it. It gets exponentially worse if I end up in the loaf, because I just end up driving it around. I could happily, I don't even need to do missions on this game. Just get me in a loaf and I'll cruise around. Look at him. Don't even need to bother with the Kolob anymore. See, if the Kolob hadn't tipped, he would have stayed packed on the roof, and then I wouldn't have enjoyed myself right now. It was all part of the plan. It's like, that'll do. Probably not even going to be the thumbnail in the end, but there's potential. I mean, look at him. That is a picture you'd want on your wall. Just block the Kolob behind him, pretend it's not even there, pretend he hauled it here himself. They need to get a saddle on the loaf. It's about time. He could haul trailers, definitely. I've done it. Anyway, that's about it for today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Thanks for my Patreon members. Get yourself a loaf, because as you can see, he's a goddamn professional. And I'll be back soon.